Hello everyone, how you going and welcome back to DIY. The place that just really knows how to ruin today if you're not prepared for what these posts are about to be. You know, if nothing else, these posts are just to leave you confused about how anyone even thinks about this stuff. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? So then starting right off with, look, this is cool. I just have concern about cleaning it, dust build up, mold, the spiders, it's a fire hazard. Oh, alrighty then, we've got a little bit of lead strip. Oh no, wait, that actually does look so cool. I have to agree with the title in terms of that looks awesome. I mean, I don't really know how they would have done it, considering you would have to kind of put in a delay to the entire lead strip, and really that's probably the most impressive thing, considering generally when I think lead strip is either on or off. And to be honest, even though the title does raise a couple of good points in terms of maybe some spiders and things like that, that's definitely fair enough. But really, I feel as though if you're worried about mold growing in it, then it kind of isn't the problem. You know, maybe deal with the mold instead of just going, well, I guess we can't have this funky light. And look, considering the fact that it is just lead strip, really it shouldn't be a fire hazard. I mean, maybe it does get a little bit hotter than I expected to, or maybe I don't really know what that is. But really, I just don't feel as though half the things that they mentioned are really problems. It's not as though you're just strapping bread to your ceiling and going, oh, well, I just hope it doesn't go molding. No, you're just literally putting cotton, so it should be fine. And I guess then speaking of that, like I already said, maybe you'll get a spider every now and again. And to be honest, if you're worried about the dust collecting in your ceiling, then I feel as though the dust on your floor is going to present a bigger fire hazard than this is going to be on the ceiling. So yeah, I just don't really know if this is a truly DIY, because generally there has to be a little bit of a questioning why someone had done it, but really I just love this. Especially if you just get RGB LED, like obviously they've just done blue here and it looks like an amazing thunderstorm or something like that. I mean, I guess they do chuck in a little bit of white and yellow and whatnot, but really you could just have every color you could ever dream of. So hey, what can I say? It certainly feels a little bit strange, but I just have to disagree with this first post. I just think this is awesome. Run out of clips is an old glasses case. Now, as much as I do love the ingenuity behind this entire thing, and yes, recycling and reusing things like this is good, at the same time, I feel as though they're just making a massive presumption, and that is that everyone just has a glasses case just lying around, you know, especially because I'm fairly sure that every time you buy a set of glasses, they don't just immediately come with a case. And so how many just random old cases do you have just lying around? But hey, I guess if you can overlook that fact and this doesn't bother you and you just have one lying around, then really those things are going to be great, because they can certainly have a whole lot of bite force and grip, so that chip packet isn't going anywhere. However, in order to stick to a tradition, I must say that I don't know anyone that has ever actually needed a clip bag for a chip packet, because surely everyone can agree with the fact that once a chip packet is open, it is just open. There is no reclosing. You just have to finish it, regardless of whether you're full, regardless of what you've had before. You need to finish the chip packet. There is no closing it ever again. And so in saying that, even though I did say that I like the ingenuity behind this entire thing, really it's just a pointless product. And so in saying that, it is definitely kind of the perfect non-offensive just DIY post, because really I just don't understand why anyone would ever need this. I mean, I guess if you're some kind of psycho that, like I said, you just don't finish your chip packets, then I guess it makes sense. But really, you're not going to have any glasses cases left, because you're just going to be using them all on your cereal boxes. And I must say, it's a very, very easy decision to make in terms of which one I'm stealing up and which one I'm just eating in the moment. But hey, look, I guess I should just approach this entire thing with a little bit more of an open mind. You know, someone has obviously had a problem here and they just managed to fix it by recycling an old glasses case, so I can't be too mad at that, can I? My sister-in-law just posted this. She told my brother, use those DIY books and fix the chair. Done. What the hell am I looking at right here? I mean, I guess exactly what the title said, it is definitely done, but no, I can only imagine that she wasn't meaning to use the books as a footrest. I mean, of course, the most insane thing about this entire post is just the fact that they clearly have a whole lot of DIY books, but have never read them, if that's how they're just choosing to kind of fix a chair. And considering the fact that they've got a renovations and a building and remodeling and all the rest of them, really, I just wouldn't really want to see the rest of their house, because who knows what kind of just hidden, I don't know, booby traps and everything are just hiding around everywhere. But hey, to be honest, I feel as though if this was somehow in some contemporary art museum, it would actually do amazingly well and just have all the critics raging, because there's such a statement on the entire situation. You know, you could become every single English teacher ever and just kind of pick apart all the fine little details that they apparently meant to be, even though they didn't ever mean it. They just kind of stacked a whole bunch of books under a chair, because obviously there was a problem here, and instead of just kind of chucking out the chair, because I don't feel as though you're going to be able to kind of refit that leg considering it's splintered. I mean, maybe you just kind of drive some screws in on an angle and she'll be right from there. But in saying that, just look at the amount of surface area that you've now got by using all those books. Really, if you just kind of glued or screw them together, that would be just like a next top tier leg, almost to the point where you could just kind of start removing some of the other legs, because you're not going to need them. The amount of surface area, the amount of contact factor once you actually move those books into the center is just going to be fine. I mean, you might transform your chair into a rocking chair, but I'm sure you'll get used to it eventually. But to be honest, all I can think of now is just the reaction that she would have had when she first saw this, when he just goes, well, look, it's done. What did you want? You know, I used the books exactly like you said. I used the books to fix the chair, and there was no two ways about it. Scarily enough, it actually sounds like a situation that could actually play out in terms of it not being a joke, and that's actually how he'd actually meant to do it. So I honestly just feel bad for the sister-in-law, because there is no way, if I kind of walked away expecting the chair to be fixed and I walked back into that, there is no way that I'd be able to keep a straight face, whether I'll just be laughing at it or just crying at it, I don't know, but still, it would just be so just confusing. And I guess in saying that, even though I can't confirm it, the fact that she actually just posted it somewhere, it definitely seems to kind of hint at me that she has a sense of humor about the entire thing, so that's definitely a good thing. And so hey, maybe the guy's actually just done reading all the books and he doesn't need them anymore, and that's why he's just piling them under there as a quick little joke, and then he's just gonna, like I said, just screw 2 screws into it and then it'll be truly done. I heard you guys love cement. Oh, the fact that that we are immediately starting with the car post just does not give me hope. Oh, we're moving on to flowers and everything like that. Wait, hang on a second. No. I want to start this again because that is just ridiculous. Alright, I just have to pause it there because you can just see that they've just got a little bit of spack filler. No need to sand it back or anything. Nah, just immediately get the can of blue spray pan and just spray right over it. No one will ever notice. You know, you could have taken the edges off, but why would you want to do that? But anyway, let's just see what else we got. Like the person said, we do love concrete, but really it's more of a love-hate relationship if I'm honest. Guess hang on. I need to go through one of these one at a time. So obviously we had the one that we saw, and then they just decided to preserve roses in concrete. I mean, yeah, sure, if that's the thing, then go for it. It's certainly the most harmless one that I've seen so far. But then to go through and cling wrap a phone just to put it in a Ribena box to then just cover it in concrete just does not make sense. Look at that. Like, what the hell is that? The amount of effort that you've gone through in terms of just waiting for the concrete to set and everything like that. Surely you just could have bought one. You know, there are a million phone stands out there that I'm sure would be 100% better than this one. But what else we got? Surely we can't have too many more oranges. Are we going to have the classic bowls, or what are we going to have? Yeah, there we go. We've seen that one way too many times for it to be anything else. But yeah, all these concrete posts are just always such a ride. The fact that you just never know really where they're going to be going with it, because it just could turn into anything. Once it sets, it's just going to be like, oh wow, that is what they were actually aiming for. And I would say in the vast majority of cases, it doesn't look good at all. I mean, I guess there are a couple of the kind of utilitarian and a couple of that are alright, like I said with the roses. But then we get ones like this, like what the hell? I just want to watch this one over and over and over again, because I feel as though this one in itself is just its own DIY post. It is so much worse than the rest of them in this little concrete video right here. Because feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't know any car that just feels like that. So unless they have actually just pre-coated the entire car in concrete and then just managed to chip away a little bit, I just don't understand how this would ever even be a thing. Because this original hull doesn't look rusty, and this massive chunk of paint is just never ever going to happen on a car. So what the hell did they even do to this car in the beginning to even get that into that state? And also, regardless of how just utterly ridiculous so many of these things are, this is meant to be a 5-minute craft video, but you're using cement. There is no way that most of these things, or really all of these things, are ever going to set in 5 minutes. But I mean, in saying that, what do we even need to expect anymore from 5-minute crafts? They are just the absolute kings of concrete, and are just ever continuing to push the boundaries with what you can do with the concrete. I mean, even though most of these things are realistically just all of these things that are completely useless. Like I said at the start of the video, it is always impressive just to see what people's brains can conjure up if they really put their mind to it. And so I guess in that regard, you definitely have to give some props to that. But it certainly stops there, because there is no way I can give any kind of props to any of these creations, because they're just useless and just take so much time and energy. And it's concrete, you know, who wants to be dealing with concrete if nothing else? And so what can I say? We just know it's always going to be a questionable DIY kind of post when 5-minute crafts and concrete are involved. From Facebook. Oh, I can already see what the hell is going on here before I even have to read the text, but I will read it anyway. I'm so freaking excited that my living keyboard experiment is working. Soon my fingers will have lush grass to help me feel like I'm working in nature. No, that is never ever going to work. I mean, I guess in a week it is kind of impressive that they managed to get that far, but really, is this even necessary? Surely you could just be a sheep, or even just a normal human being, and just kind of buy a pot plant and put it on your desk or something like that, because this is just not the right thing to be doing if you want to be working in nature. But no, once again, with so many of these posts, I'm just amazed about what people come up with and what they think that is going to be a good idea. I mean, hey, I guess in a weird kind of twisted theory, this would work quite well, but really in reality, there is just no way that this is ever going to work as well as, well, I guess one, just working as well as you would hope it to, but just two, just being that lush thick carpet that you're imagining is never ever going to happen. And also, I've just realized that in order to water this, unless they're going to be somehow self-watering plants, but well, that's just certainly not a thing, but you're just going to have to be kind of pouring water all over your keyboard. So how is that going to work? Maybe it's got something to do with the fact that it looks like they just pour baking paper down over the entire thing in between all the keys, but really, I just don't understand how you're going to be watering this and also having a working keyboard. And so in that case, you can be as excited as you want to be in terms of just having a new keyboard, but to have the audacity to say soon my fingers will have lush grass to help me feel like I'm working in nature when you're talking about something like that is just insane. Regardless of the fact that, like I said, if you do just start pouring water over the keyboard, I don't think it's going to be working too well, and so you won't be kind of working in nature, you'll just be working in nature next to your desk, and that just comes back to what I was saying before, just buy a pot plant and putting it on your desk. So please people, I beg you, just do not be like this person, do not take advice from them, do not take it as an educational kind of thing that you're going to have suddenly grass all over your keyboard. No, it's not something you will ever really want. I mean, I guess, like I said, in theory, it would actually be nice if you could kind of have it a little bit like that, but really, I'm sure it's actually going to slow down your productivity, because you're not going to be able to have all the dexterity and everything that you originally had. And to be honest, I can't even believe that I'm on the defensive as to why this isn't a good idea. Surely just everyone knows that this is not something you should be doing. I know what I'm doing when I get home. Oh no, we've just reached an entire another level of DIY right now. What am I witnessing? I mean, I must say, even though it is definitely not recommended, it looks like a whole boatload of fun, or I guess a bathload of fun. But no, the fact that this person just swinging back and forth, just going by the saying, just having a fire lit under their bum is certainly not a good idea to be putting in practice. I mean, I'm kind of surprised about how that beer is staying there. That is actually an impressive thing. So maybe this is just some kind of magician or something like that. And I guess in saying that, if they are some kind of magician, then maybe this is just the right way to go about doing things, because I can only assume that this poster would actually be quite comfortable, kind of just to swing back and forward in all day. I mean, getting it swinging and keeping it swinging might be a little bit difficult considering the fact that you're just kind of rocking back and forth 250 kilos of water or whatever it is, let alone the fact that you're probably going to have another 80 kilos plus in a cast iron bath. I mean, I definitely hope that it's a cast iron bath because there is no way that I'm ever going to be wanting to kind of do that with a plastic bath. That just absolutely sounds like a recipe for disaster. I mean, maybe this person has got some magical ways that I just don't know because they're a wizard, but regardless, whatever the bath is made of, there is no way you're ever catching me being in one of those things just above an open fire. But perhaps my opinion on the entire thing is actually in the minority because, like the child said, that person wanted to go home and just kind of do exactly what this person is doing, and really, if it's got this many upvotes, I can only imagine there's a whole bunch of people that also wanted to do the same thing. I mean, once again, I feel as though I shouldn't have to, but I do have to reiterate that this is certainly not a recommended thing to be doing, to just kind of just rotisserating yourself over an open flame, because regardless of the obvious things that could go wrong, there are so many other things. You know, you spill your beer into the fire, kind of creates a fireball, and then you get burned. One of the chains break and you tip over, and then suddenly you're in the fire. I mean, you obviously have a whole bunch of water in there as well, but really you're just in the fire and just having a bad time. Or hey, maybe even just fall asleep and then all of a sudden the grass all around just catches on fire, and I'm sure you'll be fine because you're in the water, but really you just burn down the entire rest of the property. So there were just so many things that could go wrong with this little situation that does look fun, but just not recommended. And also in saying that, like I said when we first saw this video, I don't know what kind of level DIY has gone to in this regard, because I just don't even really know if it is truly a DIY kind of post. I mean, I guess they have made a hammock out of nothing or out of a bath, but in saying that, if I saw this post just outside of this sub, I would have absolutely no idea what sub it belongs to besides kind of a WTF kind of sub. So yeah, what can I say? I guess it just hubs back to the fact that I'm often confused about what people can actually come up with on this sub. As a teenager, I made a duct tape and chainmail frisbee. Now, even though I have just come off the last post where I had a whole bunch of questions, I certainly just have a whole new suite of questions with this one, because why did you think this was ever going to even, well, one, work? Or I mean, I guess I want to know if it works, but really just what kind of mindset were you in when you actually decided to go about doing this random thing? Because strangely enough, with the last one, I can actually understand how someone got to that end goal, but really just what was the point of making this one? Just why? Just DIY? I mean, I guess in saying that, given what you gave yourself to work with, you actually did a pretty decent job from the leather stitching or the leather kind of cord or whatever it is to the chainmail, and then just making a duct tape patty. Really, somehow it does actually look like a frisbee and not just some kind of abomination. So what can I say? I just actually want to know, did it fly or did it not? I mean, which way do you even throw it? Because I feel as though if you did throw it in the orientation of the image on the right, then it might actually fly better than the one on the left, because there was no way that the chainmail is actually going to kind of lock in and make a cushion of air, because, well, the air can just go through the chainmail. It doesn't even make sense in that regard either. In saying that, we must commend them on the fact that they actually had the courage to post something like this, because I don't feel as though I've ever actually seen kind of a personal DIY post. You know, people are generally just kind of posting 5-minute crafts for external, just randomness of videos, and hey, that certainly isn't a bad thing. It brings a nice diversity of range into the sub, but hey, the fact that this person has just actually eventually plucked up the courage to post this random thing that, well, I guess they've actually kept, considering when I was a teenager was the actual sentence. So even though this thing has actually eventually made its way onto DIY, at the same time they're actually being proud enough of it, or even just maybe confused enough about it just to keep it for however long. So look, as confused as I am about the entire thing and just the amount of questions as to why and how and when and just, well, I don't even know, there were so many questions about the entire thing. At the same time, I do feel as though the entire thing just kind of gets a pass, because what can I say, if someone actually has the courage to post their own thing on this sub, then more power to them. And even though I will say without a doubt that this is absolutely a teenage kind of creation, if you want to call it that, at the same time, considering it obviously has been so successful on this sub, just getting upvote after upvote after upvote, it really just does prove that nothing is safe from being questioned by the DIY community. And so now finally to the top of the one for DIY, we have, I don't even have any words for this. What are we gonna have? Oh no. I feel as though we've actually had one of these before. Look at that. The knife glasses have come back and now they're in green. I mean, I'm fairly sure last time they were in clear, now they're in green. So really it just has an entire different element of style points, but no, just once again, it just makes no sense. Why would anyone want to be doing this? I mean, I guess that's what fashion is these days, you know, just trying to push the boundaries and whatnot. But the fact that this person has just clearly gone out of their way just to buy the crappiest plastic glasses that they can just to be able to melt them down. I mean, that certainly isn't recommended in the first place. You certainly want to be trying to steer clear of any melting plastic if you can, and so really just to kind of be doing it on purpose, why? I mean, I must say, if I'm 100% honest with you, I'm always surprised about how well they work and just really also how good they look. By no means whatsoever does that mean that actually looks good, but you have to admit it actually does work quite well as a pair of glasses in terms of just the shape and everything like that. So even though I have absolutely no idea how this trend, if you even want to call it a trend, ever started, at the same time, like I said with so many of these posts this month, it really is just quite impressive just what people can think of. And even though this one definitely isn't recycling because these people would have gone out and bought new ones, it would actually be an awesome idea if you were somehow to kind of recycle old plastic utensils and whatnot. So look, even though you would not catch me dead wearing a pair of these, and really I have no idea how comfortable they are, or really probably more uncomfortable than comfortable, at the same time you do have to give credit where credit's due, because some people are just smart and just build a little bit different, or they just think a little bit different. And hey, if all those people want to come along and just hang out on DIY, then I guess more power to them. Really, who am I to judge? People just kind of being a little bit creative. But anyway, that is going to do it for the top of the month for DIY, so thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to the YouTube algorithmic things down below. Let me know if you had a favorite post of any of these. Other than that, we check out awesome posts all over Reddit, so make sure you check some of the other videos out now. Or hey, maybe you even just want to consider subscribing so you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.